Well, first and foremost, this is the BSA head that I took off of the BSA that I last did a video on. The head has been to the machinist and has been planed flat, so that's nice. It only took a couple thousandths, but it was worth it. This is the head gasket that came off the head bike. It measures in thickness 0.4047, which is a tad bit thick. Now down here I've got a collection of head gaskets, and they go from 3/8 to 40. And I'm going to take a nice mid-range one right here, and this is what I'm going to put on the bike. I'm not going to use this for two reasons. First of all, it's thicker. Second, it's very, very hard. It's not malleable at all. And I'm thinking that maybe that's the reason it leaked, that when it was tightened down, it didn't compress because it's so darn hard and brittle. So I'm going to anneal this. I will heat it up, I will quench it, and then I will use it. So because by itself, it's very malleable. I can actually bend it. I'm not going to, but I can. Okay. The second bit of good news is, remember how dirty these compression chambers were, combustion chambers were. I was amazed at the amount of carbon that was in there for a bike that had just been rebuilt. Turned out it wasn't carbon. It was oil. There was so much oil in the inside of the engine that it looked like carbon. So I've cleaned it off. All I did was wipe it off. Very little carbon in the center of the exhaust valves there, and that's about the sum total. Now I'm going to show you the other side, the engine. We'll just pan around here slowly so we don't get people dizzy. This is my good buddy Bill. Say hi, Bill. How are you?
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Bill is an incredibly good machinist and a really helpful guy to know, which is one of the fun things about this community. There are so many people in it who are really helpful to know. Okay, these pistons were also black. Remember, and I was really concerned that there was so much carbon buildup on an engine that had just been rebuilt. Well, there wasn't. It was oil, just burned oil. Now this stuff just wiped out on this side, and that's as clean as it's going to get. On this side, this is the side that was leaking oil through the head gasket, and I guess into the cylinder. That's about as much I could get off with casual wiping. I'm not going to scrape it. I'm not going to scrub it. I'm going to leave it like it is because it's just fine. So anyway, the good news was that the engine had not built up a lot of carbon. It has not been run that much. It was recently rebuilt, and I'm perfectly happy with that. And as I say, when I go back over here, going by Bill's feet, I'm going to use a new head gasket that is thinner and softer. And I'm going to put the bike together today and see how it goes. I think it's going to solve the blown head gasket problem. So, interesting stuff about head gaskets. Well, the engine's going together nicely. I put we did the head bolts and torqued them, of course. I put the front rockers back in place and set the valves. They are set at 8 and 10, and they are very easy to do on a BSA because it's right out there in the wind, not hard like a Triumph. Don't have to worry about it. I'm going to put this little stud back in here, and just for grins, I'm going to use the same little stud remover that I showed you before in reverse to put it on, and just turn it in and turn that stud all the way down very nicely, all the way. These things make life really easy. Let's see, what else to tell you. I used the top dead center tool to locate top dead center, and unfortunately for this bike, it actually isn't a top dead center tool. In this case, it's a full advance tool. The crankshaft doesn't appear to have two notches. It only has one, and it is for full advance. So after finding that out, I used my homemade top dead center tool. I'll walk around and I'll show it to you. It's kind of cool. This is a homemade top dead center tool, and I'll let you see what happens when I move the rear tire. See if it moves down. See, it moves down and back up, and finding the top dead center right about there somewhere, and it starts back down. So once you find top dead center, you can adjust the valves on one side or the other. Then you go 180 degrees and actually 360 degrees, 180 degrees. Anyway, all the way around on the crankshaft and do the other side. So that's my little top dead center tool that I built years and years and years ago out of a spark plug that I took the porcelain out and soldered a small brass tube in at an angle so that when it's in, it pretty well holds the brass rod vertical to offset the slant of the spark plug hole. And boy, it seems to go on forever, doesn't it? Anyway, there it is, showing you the brass rod going through and coming out the side. The slot in the threads is to clean up any garbage that might be in the spark plug hole. Take this out and you may have some trash in those little slots, which is stuff in the spark plug hole threads. So anyway, this goes in there and you can find top dead center very nicely using that. Okay, so let's see what else to show you. I'm going to put the lid on now. It's all ready to go on. And what I did while I had the top dead center tool out is I marked top dead center. So the line is at full advance, that's used for timing, and the dot right there is top dead center. I painted that on just so the next guy can have top dead center nicely marked at the timing pointer. So just for the heck of it, all right, it's still leaking a little oil on the other side. I've located it. It's the oil junction block on the bottom of the engine, and I'll take that apart and reseal that once I get the engine completely reassembled. So that's where we are, getting ready to put the lid on, then the exhaust on, then the carburetor on, tank on, etc., dressing out the bike, and we'll see if it runs. That's where we are.